and welcome to the Weavr Virtual Studio. My name is Nomad, and we are going to be getting into the details and analytics of this second game here in Quincy Crew versus Thunder Predator. These two teams battle it out in a very, very dirty game, and this second game was definitely the dirtiest of all of them. And talking about dirty people, we got Gareth over on the analyst desk, a very clean-looking gentleman indeed, and he's going to be helping me get into the details of the second game. And, well, when we're looking at game number 2, unfortunately, this really was the SVG side lane smackdown, as he was able to put his team into such a great position to take this second game in minutes. And part of that, of course, was the Viper versus the Spectre. Such a good matchup for the side of Quincy Crew, and this Viper just haunted Spectre throughout the game. Meanwhile, we've got the Nature's Prophet versus the Dazzle. The Dazzle was able to do slightly better than his compadres, but unfortunately still did fall to the might of Weavr, as he really did take advantage of the chaos. And finally, in the mid lane, we have Monkey King versus Rubik in the mid.
Yeah, a little bit of an odd one, isn't it? But due to this trap that was sprung by Quincy Crew, there was a shift that was needed by Thunder Predator. So with Monkey King and Viper both being second phased, this early Spectre and Ember Spirit pick, they kind of had to move things around a little bit. So Rubik, Ember Spirit, we can see that they actually had to shift from their usual roles.
Yeah, it's what you'd expect from a normal team, and the Weavr app, when we look at the draft analysis tool, it does tell us exactly that, with a very small percentage chance for the Ember Spirit to play in a support role, and the same thing to be said for the Rubik in a mid role. But this is also something which Thunder Predator are known to do. This wasn't a surprise for Quincy Crew, and in fact, very likely the building blocks of their plan to completely dismantle them in this second game. But what forced them into this position, Gareth?
There is a situation where after the draft, they really just had to move things around to not get these disadvantageous lane matchups. Like you mentioned before, they didn't want the Viper against Spectre, they didn't want this Monkey King destroying Ember Spirit, and the lane matchups and gaining information about the lane matchups was something very important for both teams, which is why here we see Quincy Crew moving out across the map, looking for intel, any kind of information they can gather about where core heroes are standing. Fortunately, it is that Ember Spirit for Thunder Predator who gives his life away, not giving too much information to the other side.
Yeah, but that death did lead to sticky situations in the middle lane, as the Monkey King was able to springboard off that one and really take control of that middle lane. But we'll get to that later on, because it's the side lanes I want to focus up on for the time being.
Absolutely. The side lane starting off here, Thunder Predator having Spectre and Jakiro down bottom up against the Nature's Prophet, dodging the Viper for now. Mid lane, they move the Rubik there, so they do face up against the Monkey King, as the top lane having Dazzle and Ember Spirit up against the tri-lane of Treant, Viper and Earth Spirit over on the side of Quincy Crew.
Yeah, these lanes, they looked okay at the start of the game. You know, not having a Spectre versus the Viper was exactly what Thunder Predator wanted, but then something happened which kind of threw a spanner into the works of Thunder Predator.
Yeah, it starts off brilliantly. They get the lanes that they wanted. The Dazzle's up top lane, that's fine. Him dying there, not a massive problem, because, you know, he is up against this aggressive tri-lane for Quincy Crew. It's a great kill. The death, not a big problem for Thunder Predator, but it's the choice which he makes next, which really is the big blunder. Deciding to TP top lane after dying, this leaves a situation in which Viper has the second mover advantage, able to react to that TP, knowing it's now on cooldown for Dazzle, and shifting the Viper bottom to get the lane matchup against Spectre, which they wanted.
Yeah, and now the Viper really starts to take control of the Spectre's existence. He gets on top of her, he continues to poison her up, the tree comes in again, and this kill onto Spectre really is the beginning of the end for Thunder Predator, unfortunately. These two heroes, they just have an absolutely awful time against each other, and the Prophet is a big winner from this. As we mentioned before, his ability to TP around the map and take advantage of the chaos gives him an excellent performance rating this game. And yeah, I mean, this Prophet really did start to take control. And actually, if we tap into the Weavr app, we can really start to have a look at how they took advantage of this Nature's Prophet's brilliant early game. So you see here, when Nature's Prophet is played as a carry, he uses his early game advantage, and he can actually close out games very early on. And if we compare this to the Spectre, it's a much flatter curve, meaning the Spectre doesn't have the same early game and actually takes a while to come online compared to the Nature's Prophet. And this is something which Quincy Crew did a fantastic job on abusing.
Absolutely, making that numbers advantage come into their favor. The ability to swap out the lanes without expending TP scrolls really did help them when they were able to get these lane matchups that they desperately wanted. And the fact that all of these heroes being aggressive in the side lanes meant Thunder Predator had to mount all their efforts there. The Earth Spirit could actually rotate into mid and help out the hero that we've not mentioned too much of. Monkey King, played by Quinn, had a stellar early laning stage and plays into this team fight through a snowball that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and as any Dota player knows, when you lose all 3 lanes, things start to look very, very sad for you. And look at this final fight here. I mean, Quincy crew in so much control so early on in this game. A triple kill already for the Monkey King, which is about to turn into an ultra kill onto this Rubik here, as they're able to close out the match in style. And that was pretty much it for the side of Thunder Predator. They couldn't do anything more. A very, very short game 2, but that's how they did it. That's how Quincy crew were able to take down Thunder Predator in such a convincing fashion in game number 2. But from us here in the Weavr Virtual Studio, it's going to be a goodbye.